It's the Chargers and the Jets on Monday Night Football, and offensive coordinator Kellen has to kickstart this running game, or it could be a long night for the offense.
You are Locked On Chargers, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Chargers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome into the Locked On Chargers podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Wade, joined as always by my co-host, David Drogemeyer, and we've been covering the Chargers together for 8 seasons now, and this is our 6th year as the host of the Locked On Chargers podcast, bringing you your team every day. Thank you guys, as always, for making this your first listen, especially on a game day. To make sure you never miss the show, go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. David, what do we got today?
Today, Daniel, it is Chargers and Jets on Monday Night Football, and I don't like the Jets very much. I never have, especially due to their lack of success, especially in the playoffs. But we're talking about this game here tonight. So the Chargers on offense, they need to run the football because they're going up against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. And on defense, the Chargers need to abuse and torture that Jets offensive line and completely remove that offense from this game.
Which they should be able to do. And plus, the Jets also took LaDainian Tomlinson, so we can't forgive them for that. And the Chargers have dominated this series recently, but I'm a little concerned about the Chargers offense. But this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs, who helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster and for free. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. David, let's get into our keys for success offensively. And for me, it's really simple. The Chargers don't have an excuse not to be able to run the football in this game. We've already illustrated on the last show with Bridget Condon how bad the rushing attack has been, especially since week 1, where we thought there was hope in that department. Lately, it's been pretty bad. And when you're going up against the secondary, the Chargers are on Monday Night Football here, they have to have this running game as a complementary piece to this offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something. I mean, they got to get some kind of production. I mean, at any point, it's just been really, really bad the last couple of games, but they got a big opportunity to do it
They have
tonight.
a great matchup.
They have a great matchup. The Jets are 31st in rushing yards allowed in the league. There's 32 teams, okay? 144.9 rushing yards allowed per game. So you got to get the running game going, get the ball to Joshua Kelly, get the ball to Austin Eckler, get these guys churning that clock and moving those chains.
I agree. I mean, they allowed 4.3 yards per carry this year, which is 23rd in the league, and teams are trying to run the football at them. That is what the Achilles heel of this defense has been, especially when they've done to opposing quarterbacks what they have done, right? Yeah. And I think I'd like to see Justin Herbert get his legs involved as well.
Please.
And I also think that the healthy offensive line, no Chargers offensive lineman on the injury report this week, is what you needed to see to have no excuses for the Chargers not to be able to get something done in the rushing game, right? They have to figure something out this week. And the thing is, David, is even going up against this Jets defense, the Jets offense isn't great, right? Like the Chargers, we're not asking for 28 points in this game. All we're asking them to do is to maximize what they are going to have available, because that should be enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to look at what the Chargers have available, not necessarily dwell on what they don't have available. You know, you don't have Joshua Palmer. You know, you don't have Mike Williams. But you do have Quentin Johnston, you do have a returning Jalen Guyton, and you do have Darius Davis and Keenan Allen, who is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But it's all about putting the people that you have in the best positions to have success. Yep. More drag routes, more yak opportunities for Quentin Johnston. Get the ball in Darius Davis's hands any way you can. That guy is an absolute spark plug. He can make things happen. Jalen Guyton, use him on the clear out routes. That's what he is supposed to be here for. That is real speed that demands attention. Utilize the people, the players that you have, and put them in the best positions to have success.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to see them getting Quentin Johnston in motion before the snap, right? Get him running full speed, give him a head of steam, and then snap the ball and let him go. I mean, he's not, an elite route runner at this point. He's much better when he can run away from people and he has a running start to create that separation. I'd love to see that, and I'd like to see them double the yak opportunities that we saw last week against the Bears. But, David, another thing they do have are tight ends. Their tight ends are healthy. Both Gerald Everett and Donald Parham will be good to go for this game. And I think that's another great way to mitigate what you don't have is by finding a better way to use your receiving options with Gerald Everett and Donald Parham. And also these guys will be equally as important in the blocking game, whether it's extra protection to set up a shot downfield or Nick Vannett hopefully coming in and helping with the Chargers run game, because if you want the run game to get going, the tight ends are crucially important too.
Yeah, I mean, the tight ends have to play better. I mean, especially in the blocking game, in the run blocking game. Hopefully, the move that the Chargers made, bringing in Nick Vannett to be your run blocking tight end, your primary kind of protector in that situation. Hopefully, he's able to bring some more aggressiveness and bring some more athleticism and just stick on a block. Just stick on a block, open things up. But also, Donald Parham Jr. is a mismatch, a nightmare. I mean, 6'8", he's impossible to cover. Also, Gerald Everett, he's a mean guy. He's just really, really hard to take down in the open field. And also, hey, even get Stone Smart involved. I liked, using him in the seam. I mean, I think that's something that he does well. You got to use those tight ends and use them to impose your will as kind of an extension of the offensive line.
I totally agree with that. And I think this is the other most important thing for this Chargers offense. They have to play a clean game. If you look at how this Jets team with Zach Wilson at quarterback has beat not only the Bills, but also the Eagles, you have to look at the common denominator there, right? The stat line for Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, 1 touchdowns and 3 interceptions apiece. That's how good teams lose to bad teams, right?
Yeah.
Even Patrick Mahomes only had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions against this team. But you look at, in the 3 losses they have, the Jets have only taken away the ball twice in 3 games, right?
Yeah.
And those were against the Chiefs. The other 2 games, Dallas didn't turn the ball over at all. And then in the 4 wins that they have, they've turned the ball over or taken it away 11 times. And even the Giants last week, the Giants didn't turn the ball over. They played at least clean with their 3rd-string quarterback and didn't turn the ball over. And they should have won with their 3rd-string quarterback, who I want to call Danny DeVito because I don't know what his first name is. But I think that's going to be such a big factor. I know it is something, DeVito. But it is going to be a big factor in this game, David. I mean, the Chargers, you cannot help out this bad Jets offense.
Absolutely not. I mean, this Jets offense thrives on getting short fields because their defense provides them those short fields so often. The Chargers cannot do that to them tonight. They can't. Yeah. They absolutely cannot allow that offense, which needs short fields. They need them. They are not a good offense at all. They have a couple of really good football players in Garrett Wilson and Breese Hall, but they are not good overall. So you can't help them out. No penalties, no turnovers. Do not give them any short fields. Protect the football. It's incredibly important in this game.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is just Justin Herbert not trying to do too much, right? Like the offensive line has to hold up and give him some time. Kellen Moore has to help that offensive line, give him some time, like David's talked about many times before, right? Get the pocket on the move.
Yes.
Do some misdirection. Get some things to catch this Jets offense or defense off balance. Like whatever tricks you have, pull them
move
out
the spot. Just move the line of scrimmage.
What else would you say for this game that you would want to see from this Chargers offense in their toughest matchup so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the last things that I want to bring up in this football game is just get points. You have to maximize your opportunities. Every single time you get the football and you have a chance to score, you need to score the ball. I mean, it has to happen. I mean, whether it's touchdowns or field goals, obviously I don't ever like trading 3s for 7s, but you have to score points because possessions are going to come at a premium in this football game, so you need to make sure you cash in every chance you get.
Yeah, I feel like, for the most part, I'm almost always hey, Staley, go for it. And I'm almost always thinking, hey, I understand why they went for it, right? I would rather them try that. Against this defense, I mean, obviously certain situations withstanding, I think you do have to take the points a lot of the time because I think you're just trying to, hey, if you're getting in scoring position, you don't know how many drives you're going to get there, especially on an offense that's had a ton of lulls and is set up to go up against the toughest defensive matchup that they faced so far this season. So it's going to be really hard to stay away from those offensive lulls. If you can get the points and you have an opportunity to take them. Because this Chargers defense also has a pretty good matchup. It's strength against strength. It's weakness against weakness. But this bad Chargers defense should absolutely smother this terrible Jets offense. And we're going to tell you how they can do it coming up right after this. I do need to tell you guys about LinkedIn Jobs, though, because sometimes I wish my wife looked at me the way that she looks at LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business, and you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs, because LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. It's so easy to create a job post, and if you guys are trying to finish this year the way you want to, the best way to do it is with LinkedIn Jobs. The one thing that my wife always talks about as a recruiter is just not only how quickly you get qualified candidates, but how good those people end up fitting into the workplace. Finding the right people is such a big deal, especially when you're trying to finish out the last quarter in the right way. And that's why the simple tools they have, like screening questions, make it so easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. And LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster and for free. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. David, let's get to this Chargers defense, which trusting the Chargers defense has been something that is, hard to feel good about a lot of the times. But when you look at what they've been able to do against bad quarterbacks for the most part this year, I think you have some hope for what they can do. And I think when you're looking at this Monday Night Football game, especially with what that Jets offense has looked like the last couple of weeks, to me, it's simple, David. Like, the Chargers need to go out here and smother Zach Wilson in this Jets offense, and I think they can.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, this Jets offense is not great. I mean, the passing offense is one of the worst in the league. They're 31st in passing yards, which is only 164.3 passing yards per game on average, which is not great. Also,
right.
The Jets offensive line is giving up an average of 3 sacks a game. So They're not good. They are injured, and they are mixing and matching, trying to find out and figure out what the best combination of offensive linemen is going to be. And oh, by the way, the Jets offense punted 11 times last week as well. So this is a really, really, really bad Jets offense, and the Chargers need to absolutely smother them, take Garrett Wilson away, take Breece Hall away. Like, Breece Hall is the home run hitter. Like, he's the guy that you have to know that you can't let him make major impacts on the football game.
Yeah, I mean, you're going up against an offense that has 8 offensive touchdowns in 7 games. 1 return touchdown, 1 defensive touchdown. This offense has scored 8 touchdowns in 7 games.
That's horrible.
So I'm looking for this Chargers defense to do what they did against Aiden O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
7 sacks against him in that game, multiple turnovers. What they did to Tyson Bagent last week, right? Like, we have seen them do it against bad quarterbacks this year already. And I think going to what you're saying about Breece Hall, I think if you can just take away the easy stuff, this Jets offense is really, really going to struggle. If you can make Zach Wilson hold the ball and not let him have Garrett Wilson on an easy slant, right? If you can make Zach Wilson have to face an extra 3rd and 5 instead of letting Breece Hall catch a dump off and be able to take that 15 yards, you're going to put yourself in a great opportunity to have success and to get off the field. And I think the other big part of that in smothering them and not giving them any life is do not bail them out with penalties, right? If you bail this Jets team out with penalties on underthrows down the field to Garrett Wilson for pass interferences that's going to flip the field, that is how you're going to set this offense up for success on the Jets side, because they need all the help they can get. Do not bail them out. And as far as Breece Hall goes, I mean, he has 3 separate games with a 40-plus yard rush. He's had back-to-back games where he's had at least a 25-yard reception, because the last 2 games he's only carried the ball 24 times for a total of 56 yards. You can shut this rushing attack down. The big thing here, Kenneth Murray, questionable for this game. Eric Kendricks, questionable for this game. Sebastian Joseph Day, questionable for this game. Morgan Fox, questionable for this game. So there's a lot that's up in the air, right? But getting him in the passing game and slowing that down after 11 catches for 130 yards over the last 2 weeks, that's going to be huge. And David, you talked about this chart, the Jets offensive line and how banged up it is, right?
Yeah.
This Chargers pass rush with all 3 guys healthy have to dominate this game. It's not you want them to. They have to do it, and they absolutely should, because they have a primo matchup going up against a really, really battered Jets offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, and especially the place to do it for the Chargers, where they've found the most success getting after the quarterback, is on 3rd and long.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers defense has 14 sacks on third down, which is the second most in the league. So if you get in those third and long situations, that's when the Chargers can really get creative and they can move their pieces around. They can put Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the same side while they have Thule on the other side, and they have hopefully Morgan Fox in the middle. Or they can move Joey Bosa over a guard or over a center, and they can get creative and they can really create some chaos and some conflict for this Jets offensive line that has not played a lot of snaps together, that doesn't have that chemistry or that communication down yet. So you need to frustrate them, confuse them, and abuse them all night long, and you definitely should.
Jets offensive line has 4 guys on injured reserve. All of those guys have started for them this year. They lost their center and their backup center, who was their starting right guard last week. They brought in Roger Saffold off the street. I would test that if that dude's getting meaningful snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully Morgan Fox could play, because he would obviously, if you listen to the crossover, have an ideal matchup in this. But I also want as many snaps as possible with Thule, Joey Bosa, and Khalil Mack on the field. Whether that's, rushing one of those guys inside, fine. I've seen them all do that well, right?
Yeah.
If it's 3rd and 6, I'm having all 3 of those guys on the field. Like, I don't think you have to wait for 3rd and 10s. Like,
no,
get
I agree.
those guys on the field as much as you possibly can, because that's going to get good things. Because if you take all of the offensive linemen for the Jets put together, David, 106 pressures combined is what those guys have given up in 7 games.
That's an insane amount. And also, don't just wait till third down to rush the quarterback. I mean, it seems like it's almost exclusive to that down. Get pressure in Zach Wilson's face early on first and second down. Set up those third and long situations by getting pressure in his face. He is not good when he is under pressure. When he is under pressure, Zach Wilson doesn't really go through progressions. He pretty much predetermines where he is going to go with the football before the football is snapped. So if you can change the sight picture after the football is snapped and make him have to process and hold on to the ball just an extra click, then your pass rush is going to be able to get home.
And that's the hard thing with the Chargers defense, right? Because you want them to get exotic and to give some surprising looks to Zach Wilson, a guy who has struggled against that kind of thing. At the same time, it's like, don't make it too confusing that your own guys don't understand it, right? Because this is the one thing is they're going to try to stop the run. The Chargers are, of course, you want Zach Wilson to beat you. But the one place the Chargers have been a little soft is on first downs, when teams know they're selling out against the run and they find explosive plays on first down. If you let them flip the field like that, it's going to be a long day for you. Like, you're going to give them stuff you absolutely should not give them. But how about this, David? How about the Chargers defense helps out the offense, right? I think if there was ever a game to call for the Chargers defense to help their offense out a little bit, it's this one. Get a pick six. A defensive score could win this game. Force a fumble. Zach Wilson and Breese hauled 2 fumbles each this year. The Jets have 6 fumbles in 7 games so far this season. Find a way to help your offense out the same way you don't want the Chargers offense to help out that Jets offense, right? You don't want them to do that. You want to have your defense, like they did last week, right? Set up a field goal in the second half of that game, got the Chargers 3 points. Go get a pick 6, get a scoop and score. Find a way to help your offense out in this game.
The celebration committee better have gone back and put together at least 4 or 5 different choreographed celebrations, because I want to see that many turnovers in this football game. You
Color
get the
me
ball
not
back.
Impressed by those celebrations. By the way,
They're great, man. I love it.
I think that they should have been way better. If you have a committee, it's got to be more than a line of people doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I
it's
need
a
much
start.
better. It's week 1, right?
Yeah,
They're still in the preseason of celebrations, but I need better celebrations from that defense.
You're absolutely right. I need to see some better stuff there. But I love the celebrations, because when you are there enjoying the fact that you just made a big play and everyone around you, that is contagious. When you start doing that, then it happens more and more and more. And then before you know it, your defense is helping you win football games because they're having so much fun playing a kid's game. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. These guys are playing a kid's game, making millions and millions of dollars. And yes, it's serious. And yes, there's only 17 regular season games. But you got to have fun. And when you're having fun, you're making plays. You're making plays, you're having fun. So I want to see a bunch of celebrations on the defensive side, because they're taking the football away and giving it back to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, or, I mean, giving it back to the Jets, kickoff return.
Right, exactly.
Putting it in the back of the end zone, So it would be great to see. I mean, I think if they can really get in Zach Wilson's face, like, people regress when things are tough, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy to play a clean game when things are going right. Like,
Yeah.
it's when things that are going wrong, which is what I don't want to see from Justin Herbert, right? When things are tough, don't try to force it because
Yeah,
you're going to
don't let
have
it
to punt.
snowball.
You're going to have to take some punts. You're going to have
Yeah.
some throwaways in this game. Make Zach Wilson regress to what we know he's able to do, which is be a turnover machine. And another big thing for me, maybe a big return on special teams, right? That could be something that decides this game. So those are
Yes,
the two
please.
things. If you could help yourself with field position defensively and with your special teams unit, it's going to go a long way in winning what I really, really think is going to be a tough game. And a game that I'm worried about the offense. You know, the defense hasn't been trustworthy all season long. I don't know if I can pick them to win in primetime Monday Night Football. I want to. Trust me, I want to. But we're going to get into our bold and our game predictions coming up right after this. I do first need to tell you guys about FanDuel because you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 bet that wins on the money line. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action because the app is super easy to use, spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. Right now, the Chargers are 3.5-point favorites over the Jets on Monday Night Football. But if you don't want to go with the money line, I totally understand that. You go with Keenan Allen to score an anytime touchdown at +140. Austin Eckler, who has 40+ touchdowns over the last 3 seasons, at +100 to get into the end zone. Or one of my favorite bets, both of these teams to go scoreless for a quarter. That's +195. You can almost double your money, and it feels like this is a game that could happen with. And all you guys have to do is go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season in style. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. David, it's time to get into our bold and our game predictions because this is one where things are going to be tough. It's hard to know where to go with this Chargers offense, going up against a really, really good defense or what the defensive bold prediction could be, not knowing who's going to be out there, right? Because that's the one thing. Joshua Palmer in this game, right? Not going to play on injured reserve now. You do get Jalen Guyon back, but that's a big blow. Eric Kendricks, Kenneth Murray, Sebastian Joseph Day, those guys are all questionable.
Yep.
A lot of uncertainty going into these predictions, and it's Monday. We're here. The game is tonight. But before we get into that, I do need to tell you guys, make sure you're checking out Locked On NFL Kickoff Live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Tanisha Batiste, Jarvis Davis, and Kyle Krabs, giving you the insight to all of the biggest matchups and getting their thoughts from the local experts who are covering their NFL teams around the league like no other company can. Make sure you guys check that out, 2 p.m. Eastern Time live every single Friday on every Locked On NFL channel. David, let's go offensive bold predictions. This one was tough. Where are you going with it?
Well, Austin Eckler has scored 5 touchdowns in his last 4 Monday night games. So you might as well call Austin Eckler Mr. Monday Night. That is why Austin Eckler is the center of my offensive bold prediction. Austin Eckler goes for 130 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Austin Eckler going off, baby.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to know that the Chargers are going to score 2 offensive touchdowns in this game. If I knew that, I'd feel a lot better about it because 2 offensive touchdowns could potentially win them this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally knew those stats too when I just told people to, go +100 on an anytime Austin Eckler touchdown. I definitely knew 5 touchdowns in 4 Monday Night Football games. Totally. But my offensive bold prediction, it was tough, man, because I think, if you're going running the football, it's such a good matchup. That hasn't always translated for them this season.
No.
I'm going with the tight ends because I think that's the most easy way for the Chargers to hide what they don't have is by leaning into 2 proven receiving options and Donald Parham and Gerald Everett to kind of make up some of the gap they have, missing guys like Mike Williams and Joshua Palmer.
I like it.
So I have the Chargers 2 tight ends, Everett and Parham combining for 8 catches, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I'll also tell you that 5 of the 11 touchdowns that the Jets defense has allowed so far this season have gone to tight ends. So almost half of the touchdowns they have allowed have gone to tight ends. I think if the Chargers do get close, their best options of getting into the end zone are definitely those 2 guys. David, I don't know if your defensive bold prediction is going to be as bold as mine, so I'll let you go first.
All right, that sounds good. Well, the Chargers have a couple of great edge rushers. One of those has finally started to come out of hibernation, and that is
Which
the
one was
big
that?
bear, Joey Bosa. So Joey Bosa looked really, really healthy against the Bears, and I think that is going to carry over with another strong week of practice, him not being on the injury report at all. I think that pays immediate dividends again this week. I'm going 2.5 sacks for Joey Bosa, one being a strip sack, and
Ooh.
throwing in 2 tackles for loss as well.
Joey Bosa, it was so nice to see him out the game that he did, and he had a good matchup last week, and that was the nice thing. Last week we saw the Chargers edge rushers have a good matchup and take advantage of it, right?
Yes.
The sack numbers didn't show up, but they basically shut everything down for that Bears offense when things got tight, right? Like
They were
on
disruptive.
big plays,
Yeah.
they were there. On 4th and 1, Joey Bosa's getting a tackle at the line of scrimmage for a stop. Like they showed up when they needed to. This is one of my bolder predictions that I've had. My
hear it.
defensive bold prediction is that the Chargers allow 0 touchdowns in this game. The Jets are the worst red zone offense in the league.
Yep.
I think the Chargers' red zone defense is going to be a huge factor in whether or not they can win this game. If you can hold the Jets just to field goals after, maybe some loose plays here or there, because I just think there are going to be some loose plays between the 20s. Like, I think they're going to be able to move the ball at times against this Chargers defense. But they're 1 of 11 in the red zone over the last 3 games. The Jets are.
That's
22% of their red zone trips so far this season have turned into touchdowns. That's where I feel like the Chargers have an edge here. That's where I feel like the Chargers defense can get things right. 0 touchdowns allowed by the Chargers defense in the year of our Lord 2023, going into a game thinking the Chargers could potentially allow 0 touchdowns.
That is a extremely bold take, but I love it. I mean, especially out of the two of us, I think you're probably the more conservative one on the bold predictions.
Sure.
Not this week. Not this week. I love it.
Yeah.
Bold, but that is great. Also, third down third down conversion percentage also worse in the NFL as well. So that could help in that journey as well.
So, David, it's Monday Night Football. Let's put our money where our mouths are. I don't know if I can pick them to win. I feel like get the people off right. The Chargers should win this game. I think the Jets are a bit of a better team than probably many Chargers fans are giving them credit for. They're 4-3 for a reason. They've beaten the Eagles. They've beaten the Bills. 2 teams the Chargers could only hope to have as scalps on their resume, right, as far as good teams and beating good teams. The Chargers haven't done that. Good thing is I don't think the Jets are a great team, but I think they're better than people think. What do you think is going to happen on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I mean, this is it's definitely a scary matchup when you just look at all of the elements involved in this one. But I do feel like the Chargers are going to have enough offensively to be able to separate themselves a little bit. I do expect this to be a very close game. I've already put my prediction out there. There's nothing else that has changed my feelings on the outcome of this
that was last
game.
week. Are you sure?
Yeah,
You
that
can
was
still
last
change
week,
your mind.
but I still feel confident that the Chargers are going to win. I have them winning 21-17 on Monday Night Football.
Well, if you heard my bold prediction, you might be wondering what the score of this game is going to be because I just picked the Chargers to allow 0 touchdowns in this game. But can the Chargers outfield goal or outscore the Jets in this game? It's tough, man, because the Jets have beaten good teams. There's a scenario that plays out where the Chargers offense plays a little loose, turns the ball over, has a spell at the start of this game where they can't get things going. And this is not a team you want to be playing from behind against. It's not. And that's what scares me, right? When you have other MVP candidates, 3 of them that all had multiple interceptions, that's scary. Because if you get behind, if you give them a touchdown, it's going to be really hard for you to come back from that. I have the Chargers doing just enough. I had the tight ends obviously getting into 2 touchdowns. I have the Chargers winning this game 20-15 on primetime Monday Night Football, David. Hopefully they can do that and let us have a fun live game post-stream tonight because that is what we need. Get back to 4-4.
Please.
Get it done. You should absolutely win this game.
Need it tonight. It's a big game. The Chargers, if they get this one, it has playoff implications. But they need to just get back on a roll. I mean, you get back to 4-4, you feel like you're feeling good and you got the positive vibes going into the rest of your season.
Yeah, and you escape back-to-back primetime games where you don't go out there and embarrass yourself, right? Go show the world, go show this country that you're a different team. Go show this country you have a chance to turn things around and be in the conversation this season. You can't do that until you get above 500 or at least get back to 500, which is what they're trying to do. And then you'll have a chance to go up against a good team in the Lions and really prove it, right? But it starts now. It starts tonight. The Chargers have to go get this thing done. It's as close to a must-win as could be at this point of the season, right? Because 2 of the next 3 games are against the Lions and the Ravens. I don't know if you saw what the Ravens did on Sunday, but they are maybe the scariest team in the league right now. So get it done right now. Stay afloat. Get back in the fight. And that's what the Chargers need to do. And to make sure you guys don't miss the live show tonight after the game, make sure to go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. You can also find the show and our in-game thoughts on all of our social media. You can find us on Twitter at LockedOnLAC. You can find me at Dan Talk Sports and David Drogemeyer at DroTalkSD. You can follow us on Instagram at Locked On Chargers and our Locked On Chargers Facebook page as well. But get it done. Primetime Monday Night Football. Hopefully you guys will be back here with us for a victory post-game show tonight. But until then, guys, take it easy and go Bolts.